Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice, where we take up the questions from the Hindu and Indian Express and curate them as per the demands of Civil Services Prelims examination. The questions for the discussion are listed on your screen.
Moving on to the first article of the day. The article is featured on page 15 of the Indian Express and basically talks about the falling pulses import. Now, the article mentions that the country has achieved 90% of self sufficiency in dal and it is thanking mainly to the chana production. The article also mentions that Indian import of pulses have come down from 6.6 million tons to 2.5 million tons in a span of 6 years. Now, UPSC under the economic section has continuously asked questions related to agriculture and has specifically asked questions related to minimum support price, that is the MSP, and such a question was seen in the year 2020 when it asked about the MSP and that related to the cereals and pulses. A practice question in this regard can thus be framed. The practice question here says, consider the following statement regarding pulses. The first statement here is, India import pulses for a majority of its domestic consumption. Now, this statement is wrong because India has achieved self-sufficiency up to a level of 90% in the production of pulses. So, only a minority sum of pulses are being imported by India. So statement 1 here is incorrect. Moving on to the second statement, it says import of pulses by value have continuously increased over the last 5 years. Now this statement is also incorrect and the value of imports have come down in the year 2022-23 when compared to the year 2021. Moving on to the third statement, it says chickpea is the largest imported pulse by India in the last year. Now this statement is also incorrect as it was the pigeon pea that was the largest imported pulses in the last year period of time and not the chickpea. The question further says how many of the above statement are correct, and as none of the given statement above are correct, the correct code for the given question will be option D. Further, the correct code for the previous year question is also option D. Moving on to the next article of the day, the article has featured on page 10 of the Hindu and basically talks about the Kavach system. Now, the Kavach system has been in use after the deadly train accident took place in Odisha. Now, UPSC under the Science and Technology section has continuously asked questions related to various developments that were taking place in the field of science and tech. And such a question in 2022 was seen regarding the fractional orbital bombardment system. So, a practice question in this regard featuring Kavach can thus be framed. The practice question here says, consider the following statement with reference to Kavach. First statement here says, Kavach activates the train braking system automatically if the driver fails to control the train as per the speed restriction. Now this statement here is correct. Now Kavach basically is an indigenously developed automatic train protection system and it was developed by the Research Design and Standards Organization in collaboration with the Indian industry. Now a prominent feature of Kavach is that it activates the train braking system automatically if the driver fails to control the speed as per the speed restrictions and thus prevent collision between two locomotives equipped with the functional Kavach system. Not only that, it also relays SOS message during emergency situation and centralized live monitoring of train movement through this system is also possible. Moving on to the second statement, it says the traffic collision avoidance system in Kavach enables two-way communication between the station master and the loco pilot using near field communication technology. Now statement 2 here is incorrect as Kavach uses a network of devices that are mounted on trains to avoid any kind of collision. And the devices which are used in the Kavach system consist of radio frequency identification technology, that is the RFID as popularly known as, and it also uses the GPS system to precisely assess the location of two trains and initiate the braking system automatically. So it does not use the near field communication technology. As only statement 1 is correct, so the correct code for the given question will be option C. Further, the correct code for the previous year question is also option C. Moving on to the next article of the day, the article has featured on page 15 of the Indian Express and basically talks about the developments in the field of science and technology and particularly in that of artificial intelligence. Now, the article mentions that a breakthrough has been achieved under which artificial intelligence has been used in the field of medicine. And the scientists have used this technology to find a new antibiotic that is powerful enough to kill a superbug. Now, the superbug that is in question is Acinetobacter. Now, UPSC in the previous year under the Science and Technology section has continuously asked questions related to diseases and also regarding the basic functioning of bacteria, viruses, probiotics, etc. And such a question was seen regarding the probiotics in the year 2022 only. So a practice question in this regard with reference to antimicrobial resistance can thus be framed. The practice question here says, consider the following statement. The first statement here is superbugs are strains of bacteria, viruses, parasites and fungi that are resistant to multiple antibiotics. Now, this statement here is correct as superbug strains can contain strains of bacteria, viruses, parasites and fungi and are resistant to most of the antibiotics and other medications that are commonly used to treat the infection. A few examples of the superbug can include the bacteria that causes pneumonia or urinary tract infections and skin infections. Moving on to the second statement, it says carbapenem resistance Acinetobacter is one of the world's dangerous antibiotic resistant bacteria and it is difficult to eradicate. Now, statement 2 here is also correct as this bacteria is the most dangerous antibiotic resistance bacteria and hence is thus difficult to eradicate. The World Health Organization has also identified this bacteria as one of the most dangerous antibiotic resistant bacteria which is difficult to eradicate. Further going a bit deeper about the bacteria, the characteristic of bacteria is that it can cause pneumonia, meningitis and it can also infect wounds, all of which can thus lead to death. Further, this bacteria is usually found in hospital settings where it can survive on the surface for a longer period of times. Moving on to the third statement, it says Chennai Declaration and Muscat Manifesto are related to the antimicrobial resistance or the AMR. Now this statement here is also correct. The Chennai Declaration is related to the antimicrobial resistance and was adopted in 2012. The aim was to address the growing threat of AMR and promote collaboration among the countries. The Muscat Manifesto has also recognized the need to accelerate political commitments in the implementation of the One Health action to control the spread of AMR. Thus, both Chennai Declaration and the Muscat Manifesto are related to the antimicrobial resistance. Further, the question for this is how many of the statements given above is or are correct, and as all the statements given above are correct, the correct code for the given question will be option C. Further, the correct code for the previous year question related to probiotics is also option C. Moving on to the next article of the day, the article is featured on page 6 of the Hindu and basically talks about the news from the Kasargod wherein 56 flap-shell black turtles have been found dead. Now UPSC under the environment section has continuously asked some of the questions that are related to flora and fauna. And such a question was seen in the year 2020 regarding the Indian elephant. A practice question in this regard on Indian black turtle can thus be framed. The practice question here says, consider the following statement regarding the Indian black turtle. The first statement here is, they are mainly still water species. Now this statement here is correct as the Indian black turtles are basically medium sized that are found across the Indian subcontinent. They are mainly associated with the standing water bodies but can also be found sometimes in reverse. The statement 1 here is correct. Moving on to the second statement, it says they are mainly omnivorous. Now this statement is also correct. Indian black turtles are basically an omnivorous species and consumes both aquatic macrophytes and invertebrates. And thus statement 2 here is also correct. Moving on to the third statement, it says they show nocturnal lifestyle. Now this statement is also correct as the Indian black turtle shows a nocturnal lifestyle with individuals seen foraging after the dark along the edges of water bodies. The question further says which of the above statements are correct, and as all of the given above statements are correct, the correct code for the given question will be option D. Further, the correct code for the previous year question is option A. Moving on to the last article of the day, the article has featured on page 4 of the Hindu and basically talks about the Shanan Power Project that can be a bone of contention between the Himachal and Punjab. Now the article mentions that the Punjab and the Himachal Pradesh government are set for a face-off as a 99-year lease on the British era Shanan hydropower project is about to expire. Now UPSC in the previous year has asked questions and framed questions related to various reservoirs and the states they are associated with. And in this regard, a question can be framed regarding the Shanan power project. The practice question here says, consider the following statement regarding the Shanan power project. Now, the first statement here is, it is located in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Now, this statement is correct. The Shanan power project is located in the Mandi district of Himachal Pradesh, but it is currently being operated by the Punjab government. And the answer to that is in the second statement, which says the project was given on a 99-year lease to Punjab by the then ruler of Mandi, Raja Joginder Singh Bahadur. And this treaty is set to expire in 2024, and Himachal Pradesh has refused to renew the treaty. Thus, it can be a bone of contention between Himachal Pradesh and the Punjab government. So, both the statements given above in this question are correct. The question further says which of the above statement is or are correct, and as both the statements are correct, the correct code for the given question will be option C. Further, the correct code for the previous year question regarding the reservoirs and the state associated with them is also option C.